Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is National Master Laurent Belakis, and today we're going to take a look at another round played in Lower Box Chess League, and we're going to talk about our future world chess champion Tariq, who is 7 years old and he's top 10 in United States for his age. The last published rating is 1257. However, after his last win, his rating went up 1377, if I am correct. And let's see the game. It's 1343, but after his when the game was played and after his last win is 1377, so he is number 4 right now in United States under age 7. So we are really proud of you. Congratulations. And he played against Kaushal Janga, who is in plays for the Pensbury High School chess team. And Tariq was with the black pieces, and he played the King's Indian. And Kaushal played this very interesting move order f3. Why f3? Because if black plays d5, which is the Grunfeld defense, white is ready to push e4, and the difference is that you don't have to trade knights. So knight b6, knight c3, let's say bishop g7, bishop e3, and castle, queen d2, knight c6 in the Grunfeld. Black always pressures the d4 pawn. He's giving up the center and he's counterattacking with the pieces. And it could be in a very interesting line. Here black could play e5 and knight d4. Let's go back to the game. White played f3 and black played bishop g7, e4, d6. This is the King's Indian, and usually in the King's Indian you want a castle first, so then you can react to your opponent's moves or plans or ideas. So here if white plays bishop e3 and you want to transpose in a Benko gambit, then you should play a6. This is a little tiny move, looks like a loss of tempo, but if white plays bishop d3, then black can play c5. He could sacrifice this pawn, and if white accepts the pawn, then black could play knight c6, and with this simple move knight d7, bishop e3, and knight d5, black can take over the initiative here, and black is actually winning here in this line. After c5, if white pushes d5, now you could break with b5 and transpose in a Benko gambit. You're not going to rush taking right away, right? You could play knight bd7, and you could play queen a5, and you want to transfer the f8 rook to b8, and this will be a typical Benko. And you, because the bishop moved already to d3, now the bishop has to waste another tempo, and in case of he takes, you take with the queen, and the white king cannot castle, so he has to play knight g2 in order to castle, and black is doing fine here. You're having these beautiful squares. These white squares are weak, no pawns protecting it. The white squares bishop are trade off, and we discussed this in a previous game that you want to have your queen on a white squares because you traded the white square bishop. So let's go back to the game. Tariq was his first time he played the King's Indian in official game, and he did not know exactly move orders. c5, knight g2, a6. This was very good. And now white has different moves here. And one of the most common move is to long castle, and then queen a5 and king b1. This king b1 prepares knight d5, and he wants to attack the queen. And king b1, I cannot take the queen with check anymore. So let's say if I play b5 and you play knight d5, now black will capture the queen. The king is not on b1 anymore. So if I capture the queen, let's say, then white has an in-between move, has a free move. I could capture on e7 with check. King has to move away. And then I capture back the queen and white is up a pawn. So after king b1, b5, kings on opposite sides. You want a pawn storm and you want to attack on the side that your enemy king is. And here white can play with knight d5 and attack the queen. Now, black can sacrifice the queen and capture on e3. And this is an unbalanced material, but black has a compensation here. He captured the knight, the bishop, and a pawn, and has initiative and full control of the black squares. White can move the queen back to e1, and then black could capture on d4, and black has this beautiful square for his knight. And here black has many ways to play. He has compensation, but he has to be very careful here. But this position is very unbalanced, and it's for the ambitious players, for the creative players, for the uncompromised chess lovers. And white can also sacrifice his rook for the knight, but then black has tremendous compensation on the b file. So let's go back to the game. White played a3. I did not understand the move, this a3, and black played very aggressively b5 here, but because white did not block the center, black should have not played b5 here. So you could play, like, let's say a waiting move. Queen c7 comes to my mind. Rook e8 comes to my mind. Queen a5. What's the difference? If I play knight d5, now I could... The king is not castled. So we could go in the same line, but with the pawn on a3 and king on e1. Now I'm threatening knight c2, fork and attack the king and the rook. And the c4 pawn also hangs. But white could play rook c1, defend the c4 pawn, and this is interesting. This is interesting also. Black played b5 in the game. Pawn takes b5, pawn takes b5, knight takes b5, and black played queen b6 here. I was expecting bishop a6 to attack the knight on b5. I do not like this queen b6 because it lines up on the same diagonal with the bishop, and white can always break with b4. White played very good knight e to c3, and because he has a full control of the b5 square and is in full control of the queen side here, he's winning here. So all he's missing is a4, and then the a and b file are shut down. So black played rook b8, bishop e2, preparing short castling, and black played bishop a6, attacking, pressuring the b5 knight. Short castle. I think white should have played b4 here. Now if I take on d4, you take with the bishop, I attack the queen, you move the queen away, knight captures d6, and when you capture back, your bishop is trapped with b5. If I capture on b4, then I just capture back, and let's say you make a natural move, d5, I attack the queen, move the queen away, and again, knight takes d6. We've seen this before, attack the queen, and then I capture on a6, and you're going to lose even more material. So white was completely winning. What happens is, a lot of times when you are in a winning position, your mind relaxes. So white went up material. He was playing with a weaker opponent by rating, and a little bit relaxed here. And he made natural moves, you know, castling. It's not a bad move. White is still better here and still winning. Knight d8. Black is trying to open up his bishop from g7 and transfer the knight from the king side to the queen side. This was a typical banker maneuver. And white captured on c5. It was interesting to play knight d5 to attack the queen and the pawn. So let's say the queen comes back to defend the pawn on e7. And then a4. And now I stabilize the queen side. I block the a and b file, and black doesn't have the typical compensation. So if you attack my knight, then I just go back and I defend on b5. This is the key square when you play against the Banco Gambit, and you try to stabilize the queen side. If you capture, I capture, and again, the a and b file are closed. So white captured on c5, black captured back with the knight, and here white stopped knight b3. But in my opinion, he should not be afraid of knight b3. Now let's take a look at this knight b3. This knight is attacking the queen and the rook in the corner. It's a fork. The black queen is hanging from the bishop. So it's a lot of things going on here. What if I move the queen away? Your queen hangs, your queen has to move, the black queen has to move. And then, yes, my rook hangs in the corner, but I move it away and attack your knight. And once you come back with the knight, I just move back with the queen. And I think white is winning here because it stabilized the queen side. And the critical square is the b5 square. I have a beautiful knight of b5, which is defended so well by so many white pieces. And the a and b file are closed, and white is good to go here. If black gives up the bishop like in the game, then we trade queens, and I'm still having a very good control of the b5 square. And rook b1, and I could even play rook b4, so this rook will be defended by the pawn. In the game, white played bishop c4 to stop knight b3, and in my opinion, this was the critical mistake. And Tariq came up with an amazing move here. Usually you do not want to give up this strong bishop on g7. This is a monster bishop, but in this case, he is removing the defender of the knight on b5. And if the knight captures back, then I capture the bishop and I'm up a piece. So if you capture with another piece, let's say with the queen, then I capture on b5 and I capture my piece back. And if you capture on b5, I take with the queen. And white has two pawns, and it has it will be better in my opinion because it will be still in the game. Comparing to the game, white traded a lot of pieces, especially he give up the black square bishop. In my opinion, this was a big no-no. You give up 50% of the board, and white only chance is on the black squares, because the black squares around the king are weak. If you take a look around this king, this is a Swiss cheese, a complex of weak squares. The g7, h6 squares especially. So white chances with something with bishop h6 and let's say queen d4. Maybe you could dream about a checkmate on g7, or these two pawns on the queen side but they have to be supported. And the bishop is a very good supporter because he could eye both of the sides. So white captured on c5, and he blocked with the rook. His rook is pinned. Black played knight c7, transferring his knight, sticking to his plan, b4, and queen a7. This was an excellent move, keeping the pin on the rook. And white was keep trading. I did not understand these ideas behind of keep trading. So probably black quit in his mind already when he lost the piece, and he played really fast probably. And I like the fact that Tariq took his time. He did not capture on d5 here with the rook, and he played this amazing move, rook f2 b8. The a pawn is pinned. You can't take my rook because I take your rook. And with this move, he destroys the queen side. He captures both of the pawns on the queen side. So white compensation is nowhere here. Black is up a bishop, and white has zero compensation. So after a few moves, black activated all of his pieces. The rook and the queen are attacking the pawn on g3, and white defended on g3. And when you're up material, what you gotta do? Just simple trade with rook b2. And here white resigned, and this was an amazing game. Tariq is on fire lately, and he beat a few advanced players in the lower box chess league, which is played every Thursday night in Ben Salem. If you liked the video, press like and subscribe, and I see you guys next time.